The second half of our post-free agency 2024 NFL mock draft is coming your way today on the Locked On NFL Scouting Podcast.
You are Locked On NFL Scouting with the Draft Dudes, your daily podcast for NFL and college football scouting. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's better than this? It's guys being dudes here on the Locked On NFL Scouting Podcast. We're the Draft Dudes. I'm Joe Marino from Locked On Bills. He's Kyle Crabbs from Locked On Dolphins. And we are your NFL experts here with you daily to talk team building across the league on the Locked On NFL Scouting Podcast with the Draft Dudes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Want to issue a big thank you, shout out, and welcome to our everydayers. Those of you who make Locked On NFL Scouting your first listen every day, we appreciate y'all being here very, very much. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase.
Joe, part 2 of this mock draft is on the way today. We did picks 1 through 16 yesterday. Would we like to do a formal recap, or are we just going to tell everybody to go back and listen to yesterday's show?
I guess we could do a recap.
How about we do like the last 5 picks? And if you want the full thing, then you got to go back and listen to it. Yes.
Starting with the Cardinals at 11. Oh, why are the Cardinals picking at 11? You should go back and listen.
Oh, weird.
That's, like that?
That's the 6th pick, so that would have been a surprise. Pick 5 would have been 12 with Bo Nix going to the Broncos.
Math. We're doing great with math right at the beginning.
So pick 12, the Broncos drafted Bo Nix. That was a Joe Marino selection. Kyle does odds. Joe does evens. Quinyon Mitchell, cornerback to the Raiders. Troy Fautanu, offensive tackle to the Saints. Cooper DeJean, corner to the Colts at 15. Jackson Powers Johnson, center to the Seattle Seahawks at 16. Last 5 picks. You diving right in? Was yesterday timeout? Sorry, I know I'm burning one really early. I'm on my Mike McDaniel energy today. Was that the most efficient mock draft podcast we've ever done? We were done in like 28 minutes.
Yeah. Well, we had some chalky stuff to kind of get through. I think this is where it gets a little more complicated. Yeah. I mean, there's less options, more to think about, I think, towards the end here.
I definitely think there's more to think about here for a lot of these teams.
Yeah.
Because there's good players left on the board. It's like significantly good players left on the board on a number of key spots. So I guess I should do the jingle, huh? Dun, 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 dun. With the 17th pick, the Jacksonville Jaguars are on the clock. I did not come in with a pick prepared. Just for dramatic effect.
Had all night to think about it,
I did. I was neglectful of the overnight. It'd be like the team 33 coming out on Friday night, the real draft, and burning their whole clock and getting skipped because they weren't ready to go. Jacksonville's a tough team, though, because Jacksonville's spent a lot of money.
Yep.
They've brought a lot of bodies in, whether it's wide receiver or offensive line or defensive line with Josh Allen back on the franchise tag and signing Eric Armstead. They brought in some DB help. I still think corner's probably like the spot.
Yep.
You feel like you've got a really obvious upgrade opportunity with an intersection with where I think there's a really good player on the board in Terrion Arnold. So I'm going to make Terrion Arnold from Alabama cornerback the pick to pair with Tyson Campbell. And, if you need the vet player in Ronald Darby to contribute for you early, he can. But I like Arnold stepping into as the next piece in that revamped secondary for Jacksonville.
Kyle, the Cincinnati Bengals at pick 18. I feel like this is real easy. We're picking Brock Bowers, the tight end from Georgia. I'm intrigued by Mike Gesicki with this offense, but that's not a long-term solution. Brock Bowers can be like an impact option for this team. We went through last week and talked about the biggest hole remaining for every team. And with Cincinnati, it was all about solidifying the options, the weapons offensively beyond Jamar Chase. Well, here's a heck of a way to add to that with Brock Bowers, the tight end out of Georgia.
Which puts the LA Rams on the clock. And I have a very difficult decision to make. And the difficult decision is centered around what defensive line avenue I want to take. There's a splash impact undersized penetration interior player. And the Rams obviously have a massive void there with the retirement of Aaron Donald. But I think there's a better player on the edge. And I don't think the Rams have so much established talent on the edge that shouldn't also be on the table for them as well. So I'm sitting here and I'm between Johnny Newton from Illinois, the defensive tackle, and Jared Verse, the edge rusher from Florida State. I think this interior defensive line class is maybe a little deeper than first glance. I know you and I have kind of gotten into that class respectively for our own individual shows for scouting purposes. I feel a little bit better if I'm the Rams about coming back a little later and getting some quality players there, which makes the absolute value of Jared Verse here at 19 too difficult for me to pass up. So I'm going to draft Jared Verse to help my pass rush for the LA Rams to join the likes of Byron Young and Michael Hoyt, who's been a fun kind of developmental type player for them. Jared Verse.
Good pick. I am up next with the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are picking.
Fascinated what you're going to do here.
Yeah, I'm picking 20th, man. There's some intriguing stuff to do here. Obviously, a big need for Pittsburgh at center. Jackson Powers-Johnson would be a dream. He's not available. And that puts me right back to thinking about corner as those options start to dwindle down. I think we need we need something here opposite of Joey Porter. I know that Dante Jackson's in the mix. I think he can maybe fill the slot role. I think he's potentially a Band-Aid. He's had a lot of injury concerns. I think we got to get our guy here to build this secondary up. I thought that was kind of like their biggest issue last year was just didn't have enough athleticism back there with Pat Pete and Levi Wallace, and they had some troubles. I think we got to get a piece for this corner room, and it's just a matter of if it's Nate Wiggins or Kool-Aid McKinstry. They like big-time athletes from big-time programs, right? That's kind of Pittsburgh's mantra. That's what they've done. We'll go with Kool-Aid McKinstry, the corner out of Alabama. I think the size, right, at 199 pounds versus Nate Wiggins at like 172 pounds. Yeah, probably matters here. 32-inch arms on Kool-Aid McKinstry. Not that Nate Wiggins is deficient of length, but I think the mass element here, combined with the athleticism that you get from Kool-Aid, makes him the pick for me here at pick 20.
Bro, does anybody want to trade up? Do you have any odd evens teams that would want to come up to 21? I'm not willing to go down too far, but what a board fall for Miami, where you have Olu Fautanu, J.C. Latham, Talise Fuaga, Johnny Newton, Lei Tulatu, Graham Barton, amongst others on the board.
I think the same is true for the other teams behind them, where they're like, well, we like all those players too.
Right. So is there anybody who has a run somewhere that feels like they're running out of, like, is this anybody want Nate Wiggins or Johnny Newton?
I would think the Eagles would want Nate Wiggins, but I don't think Dolphins are in jeopardy of picking him, so they can just pick him at 22. Right. So to me, that's the dwindling talent pool is corner and defensive tackle.
Mm-hmm. For top tier defensive tackles. I still think there's better, there's good tier 2 and tier 3 options at that spot.
I mean, Arizona's got assets, but I don't think that they have to do it either. I think they can chill out and probably something would come to them. But that's your team you're controlling, so you can. Well, you have they have 23 and 27. It wouldn't need to trade up.
No, well, where did Arizona came from? Where?
What do you mean that? Where do they come from? They own picks 23 and 27 right now because the Vikings trade.
So was that technically a you pick or a me pick? You know what I mean?
Know. They went from it's 11 to 23 to 27. It's all odd, Kyle. Every bit of it's odd.
Okay. Oh, look at that. That's a shame.
I'll tell you what, Kyle. Everybody wants to break. Yeah, we're going to break. Everyone can wait for the Dolphins pick that's coming up here in just a moment.
Too many options.
So be sure to stick with us. Push the button. Say goodbye to busted brackets because FanDuel lets you bet on every game of the tournament, whether you're Betting on a big upset or a 1 seed, it's time to go dancing on America's #1 sportsbook, because right now new customers can get $200 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. That's $200 to use on point spreads, money lines. You can even pick who's going to win it all. Just visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and bet on college hoops until they cut down the nets.
A filibuster did absolutely nothing for me.
I know what I'd do if I were you. I know what I'd do.
I got to pick an offensive lineman. It's just a question of which tackle. The ideal
one you like the best.
I do, yeah. I'm just trying to think predictively what they would fall into. I'm pick Talise Fuaga from Oregon State.
Good pick.
Probably play him at guard early. Teron Armstead restructured his contract, might be in his final run with the team. They'd probably move on from him even if he didn't retire as a post June 1st in 2025. So you have a succession plan at offensive tackle, and in the meantime, he could play guard for you and give you some really nasty run game ability for an offensive line that's entire ideology is explosiveness off the ball. Talise Fuaga to the Dolphins.
Heck of a pick. I don't think there was a wrong decision with what you had available to you. So put him on the Brandon Albert.
Crazy board fall.
I think it's going to be like that for Miami. We've had conversations off air that you're in such a great spot with 21, man. You're going to get a player that you're going to like, or you'll have the opportunity to get a player that you like.
Right.
Philadelphia Eagles at pick 22. We kind of already spoiled this. They have a massive need at corner. And guess who's there? Nate Wiggins, the corner out of Clemson, gives them length, speed. I think he's unbelievably competitive. I like the ball skills. They need youth and dynamic upside at corner. Nate Wiggins is the last one available in the first round. We're turning in the card.
Which brings us to the Arizona Cardinals. Back on the clock at pick 23.
Don't make the mistake I did in our last mock. I forgot they had picked the receiver earlier.
They picked Brian Thomas at
Not that they couldn't
11.
pick another one. Like, they need help there, but
they picked Brian Thomas at 11.
Yep.
Courtesy of Joe Marino after trading down. And now they are looking at, man, they're another team that spent some money, so it's kind of changed the focus a little bit, but not too dramatically. I think at this spot you probably have to take the best talent available. I think probably from a just raw tape perspective, that's Leitulatu. Edge rush help. They're certainly not definitive there with what they have. Ojulari is a second-round pick last year, a promising player. Move Zaven Collins to the edge, see how that works out for him. They've invested in the defensive interior. I'll pick Latu for Arizona here at 23.
You know, I think it's a phenomenal pick. It's something that just crossed my mind. Is there a world where Hassan Reddick finds his way back to Arizona?
I think I've recalled from somebody that may be like the odds-on favorite for where he ultimately ends up.
Makes a lot of sense with Gannon.
Right.
Cool. It'd be cool. Be a fun redemption story because he's become such a nice player since leaving there. I think this is another easy selection for me here. Dallas Cowboys pick 24. The offensive line needs help. Troy Fautanu is available, the Washington offensive lineman.
No, he's not.
No, he's not.
He went 14 to the Saints.
I have Olu Fashanu as the pick. Olu Fashanu was the pick 14 to the Saints.
And you made that pick?
Yep, 100%. That was the pick.
Okay.
Would that have changed your pick at 21?
Yes, it would have.
I mean, we could just swap the picks because I just picked Fuaga for Dallas in that situation.
Are you sure?
I'm 1,000,000% sure that Olu Fashanu was the pick at 14 for the Saints.
Okay. Then Fautanu would be the pick at 21 if he was on the board.
Okay, so the Dolphins get Fautanu, and the Cowboys.
Every good grace we got for how efficient this mock draft has been is completely
well. And here's the thing: is the Dolphins fans that listened and stopped after the pick. Now you're going to have to deal with the slander. Like, you didn't pick Fautanu; he was on the board. Yeah, so that's coming. That'd be good. That'll be.
I kept the same mock draft simulator with browser open from yesterday, and I had Fautanu at pick 14.
Yeah, no. So Talise Fuaga, welcome to the Dallas Cowboys. Everything that excited us about Fautanu, we can apply to Fuaga. we can find a spot for him, whether that's guard, whether that's tackle. Much like we've done with Tyler Smith, we need offensive line help, and we found it in a big way here in Fuaga.
Green Bay Packers, pick 25. Green Bay is another offensive line spot that makes a lot of sense. Let's see. We got Barton, we got Mims, we got Latham. Doesn't Barton feel like the most Packers offensive lineman of this collection of talent?
Yeah, I think if you didn't want to go with the true tackle, then yes.
And they've kind of gone after some positional flexible players. Oh, Zach Tom's a position flex guy. Elgton Jenkins has made a ton of money being a position flex guy. I think that versatility really helps them keep the best five on the field. Royce Newman, I think, has some positional flexibility. He was a 4th-round pick. Just the difference is they're not spending first-round picks in this group. Love to spend defensive first-round picks. I just don't know that this is the draft class to do it right now. Unless what? You're going to pick Peyton Wilson?
I've started to see that in mock drafts. It's like a thing that's happening.
To the Packers?
Yeah.
What's the intersection of athleticism?
Well, it's Cowboys. I've seen the Cowboys as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, if somebody gives him a clean bill of health with the medicals, it's a no-brainer pick to spend a first-round pick on Peyton Wilson. I don't care if he plays linebacker. I'm picking Graham Barton. They've made a reinvestment in their running game with paying Josh Jacobs. I think that's worth remembering here as well. Barton, some positional flex, whether he ends up inside or outside. Presumably be a left tackle for you to start. I like that fit for them.
All right, I got the Bucks. Is this pick 26? Yeah, Bucks at pick 1. I think there's a fascinating team with a number of directions they can go. Corner stands out to me. A running mate for Levante David. Is this the Peyton Wilson spot? Edge rush makes sense. I mean, interior offensive line where Sua Opeta is a scheduled starter for them.
I know what I would do.
You do.
I always love doing that to you too.
Yeah, you do.
Because you feel a little extra pressure on it.
Yeah.
It's a little off the beaten path.
Well, I know there's a couple, like Max Melton, this corner from Rutgers, has been getting a lot of love. I feel like he kind of fits their prototype. But they have Zion McCollum and Bryce Hall, and not that would stop you. I'm just wondering how they view those players predictively. Is this the Peyton Wilson spot? That feels like a – what's that?
Would not be for me.
They need interior offensive line. Zach Frazier's there. Amarius Mims is the tackle. J.C. Latham's a tackle. They have, edge rush, Chop Robinson, Darius Robinson are both available to them.
Would not be for me.
I'm genuinely curious what you think what you would do.
It's off the beaten path what I would do, but it very much fits their profile for what they go after at this position.
Tell us.
I would draft TJ Tampa. Corner to Tampa.
For any other reason besides his name? Or he's very much that style of corner that they like.
Physical corner that they love. Physical, long, linear.
Let's go off the beaten path, Kyle Crabbs. TJ,
Joe.
Tampa to Tampa.
Good stuff.
90% because of the name, 10% because it actually
How many Tampa Bay fans would draft that or would buy that jersey?
Think about the merch. Yeah.
Imagine if he wears like 24, right? I don't know who has 24 for the Bucks, but just like the year he gets drafted and his last name is the name of the city.
It's a perfect situation. We have to do it. We have to manifest that.
The Cardinals, one more. We got one more.
Let's get it in.
All right. There's a lot of good players left on the board.
Yeah.
Like I want to pick Johnny Newton, but I question. I mean, they spent big on a bunch of interior guys with Bilal Nichols and Justin Jones. They brought those guys in. I think this would be an awesome Peyton Wilson spot with their linebacker situation. But do you spend a first round pick on a linebacker with what your roster situation is? I'd love J.C. Latham potentially play inside at guard early in his career, replace Elijah Wilkinson. Oh, they spent for Jonah Williams. I guess that probably shouldn't stop me. Oh, what the hey? I'm going to do J.C. Latham here.
Ooh,
Offensive line help.
The Ravens at 30 are in shambles. That's who they want.
Yeah, wow, that's too bad. Kick rocks. Draft Demarius Mims. We'll talk to you later.
Yeah, we will potentially do that. We'll find out in just a second. We're going to get to the Bills, Lions, Ravens, 49ers on the other side of it. So be sure to stick with us. You shouldn't have to worry when you're looking to buy tickets for your next big event. Well, you don't have to because Game Time is here, and it's the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, and comedy and theater events near you. They've got killer deals on last-minute tickets, all-in prices, a view from your seat, and a best price guarantee. I mean, simply put, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying tickets. The app is awesome. It's super easy to navigate. They give you flash deals, and I also love this. When you purchase a ticket, they send it straight to your phone, so you don't have to dig through emails to find it. So snag the tickets without the stress with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDON. That's LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed.
All right. The
Bills
Buffalo
pick?
Bills.
Yeah.
The Mafia is on the clock.
Two players I'd be over the moon with if the Bills actually got them. Chop Robinson out of Penn State, Johnny Newton out of Illinois. I'd be over the moon with either of these picks. You can miss me with these receivers that are available at this point.
Come on, wide receiver bust.
Yeah, we're busting. We're gonna bust.
Doomsday scenario if you don't draft a wide receiver in the first round.
Yeah, like we got to take Ladd McConkey here. Well, how about we just take Roman Wilson at 60? You know, like
because I really like Roman Wilson.
Well, you know what I mean.
I would like to continue liking Roman Wilson.
Let's get some impact from this defensive line. Here's what it's going to come down to. I think the need is bigger on the edge. The better prospect is the interior player. That's Johnny Newton, defensive tackle out of Illinois. We're going to have some fun with that. Him and Ed Oliver on long and late downs playing next to each other.
Long and late. I like that.
You never heard that.
I don't think
I'm always amazed when I drop something like that, and then
I don't think I've heard that. Long and late.
Long and late downs, baby. Those are pass rush downs.
Because I end up saying like third and mid.
No,
third
long
and
and
mid
late.
Plus or something like that. Long and late.
Long and late. There it is. Well, Locked On Dolphins listeners, welcome to this new phrase that you're going to hear all the time. You'll play next to Ed Oliver. The Bills, they play 4 defensive tackles every game. Right now, they only have 3 on the roster. And 2 of those are Daquan Jones and Austin Johnson. They need some more juice there, and Johnny Newton can certainly provide that. He's a stud.
Which brings us to the Detroit Lions on the clock. And I don't this is not easy either. Because Detroit has really done well to address a lot of their perceived needs.
Oh, they got a little bit of a bombshell placed on them with the Cam Sutton thing, though. So
I still think they're fine. I mean, they traded for Carlton Davis and they brought in Amik Robertson, and they have Brian Branch in the slot.
How much do you like Carlton Davis, though, lately?
I mean, they traded for him.
I know, I get it.
They still have Mosley behind. It's exponentially better than what it was last year. Their corner situation is exponentially better, even with the Sutton news that came through the news cycle.
Receiver.
Yeah, is that good value though? Is it really good value?
It's not.
And that's what I have a hard time with. And then I think about Detroit.
A couple of 30-year-old guards, man.
Right. What, Zach Frazier? We can do Zach Frazier.
He'd eat a little glass, man. The guy got himself off the field with a broken leg to avoid a penalty.
Frazier would be a bona fide home run stylistic fit for them. So would Amarius Mims at tackle if you're looking for a succession plan for Taylor Decker.
Man, Detroit's in a spot where we can have those conversations.
Yes. Brad Holmes is rock star, baby.
And Chop Robinson, to me, is the best player. I know that you're not as into Chop as I am, but like he's redundant on this defense, right? With what they already kind of have.
Mm-hmm. Tyler Guyton, Peyton Wilson, A.D. Mitchell, I think at least from an athletic profile standpoint, would make some sense for them.
I think it's got to be receiver or corner.
I'm going to go AD Mitchell. I don't love it because I feel like I'm not getting the best value player. But if I'm Detroit, I would really love to get a player that's going to be a contributor for me this year with this pick. So I'll go AD Mitchell.
Okay, I've got the Ravens at pick 30. J.C. Latham wasn't going to get any further. You think it's just going to be Amarius Mims and move on with their lives?
You tell me.
It probably is. Chop is at least interesting for me here. Let's see. What else did we identify? Let me go back to my notes on Baltimore. Baltimore. Interior offensive line. Edge. So what's our if we draft Mims, we kind of have to, like, Ronnie Stanley and all the injury concerns that are always there. Patrick McCarry, you're penciled in right tackle.
Yeah.
But certainly they traded away Morgan Moses with the intent of McCarry being a starter for them.
Well, and they also have why am I blanking on his name? Big fell in the pipeline.
Falele.
Yeah, Daniel Falele.
Does this push me to the edge rusher? Do I go Chop here?
You really feel like they need the help there too.
I'm going Chop. Chop Robinson.
Robinson.
All the burst and bend. They're going to have Odafe Owe and Chop Robinson. Everybody's favorite latest Penn State pass rushers on this defensive line. And I mean, Clowney was a big time player for them last year.
And was a productive pass rusher too.
Yeah, that was Clowney and Van Noy were 1-4 on that team last year in pressures.
Mm-hmm.
And they're counting on a lot from Ojabo, and we haven't seen anything from him yet. I'm going Chop.
No such thing as too many good pass rushers. So San Francisco. They could draft Mims.
Yep.
They could draft. Can I give you a take?
That's literally what this podcast is for us to hear.
If you ask me who the best 5 available players were, regardless of positional value right now, you know who would be on my list?
Who's that?
Mike Sanderstill.
The Michigan.
The nickel from Michigan.
Yeah.
He's a former wide receiver, too. He's an absolute dog.
Are you going to pick him right now? Or
no, I'm
just
not.
Thinking about him?
He's his name's here as I'm scrolling through best available talent, and I wanted to give him a shout out here. He's an absolute dog. I am going to pick Zach Frazier here.
Heck of a pick.
Stylistic fit for this San Francisco offense. They've kind of gotten by with offensive line talent. I think it's time to reinvest like significant assets into that group. And I think the interior, having a cornerstone player here, like Jake Brendel's not stopping me from adding a first-round pick here. And Frazier could play guard if you needed him to as well. I don't think there's any way you'd put a combination of best 5 available talent with Frazier on the list for San Francisco, and he wouldn't start for you somewhere.
I like the pick. I thought their get-by offensive line cost them the Super Bowl. So Kansas City Chiefs at pick 32. This is a great scenario for them. I mean, I'm looking at, I have 5 options available for them, and they all make sense. Darius Robinson, the defensive lineman from Missouri, like they haven't brought back Mike Dana yet. That's pretty much a very simple reset there. At offensive tackle, Amarius Mims and Tyler Guyton, like they like that Oklahoma pipeline with Creed Humphrey and Wanye Morris. Left tackle, right? They have a need there, in my opinion. And then even the wide receiver options of McConkey, Xavier Worthy make a lot of sense. And I mean, Max Melton at corner, if they wanted to do that, they could consider it. Is Andy Reid's going to prioritize the trenches, right? He's going to get the offensive line. So. He would want the left tackle. I haven't seen enough.
Especially because they have some of those other contracts on their offensive line that are contracts coming out.
You're a thinker, Kyle Crabbs. Because even if Wanye Morris, you thought of him as a long-term starter, like maybe he's your successor for like Jawan Taylor when you can get out of that deal, which I'm sure they're going to be eager to do.
Well, and then are they going to pay Trey Smith versus who they like. If you didn't pay L'Jarius Sneed, are you going to pay Trey Smith?
Is it going to be Mims or Guyton? I think that's what this comes down to.
I know who it should be.
You're going to say Mims.
I think he's a better player.
Marius Mims, welcome to being Patrick Mahomes' blindside protector.
Lock it in. Lots of tackles. A lot of them go late, though. They run on late offensive line.
And edge, right? Like our edge run happened like 19. So, we had like Turner goes 9, then the next one goes at 19. That was kind of interesting. Some corners late as well.
It's a good class. It's a good draft. This is a good draft class. I would say this is probably a better draft class than, at least at the top. Would you be fair to say the last 2 years?
Yeah, 1 through 32 opportunity is as good as I've felt in a long time.
Yeah, past couple seasons at least.
Yeah. Now I don't know that. From what I understand about this draft, is like 5th, 6th, 7th round. You're into the UDFA's.
Yeah, don't have picks there.
But many top 100 picks as you can get, you're going to find some talent.
Yeah, for sure. That's going to do it for this post-free agency, first wave 1 of free agency mock draft. I'm Kyle Crabbs. He's Joe Marino. We are locked on NFL scouting. Hope you guys enjoyed today's episode of the program. Keep it locked in on the Locked On Network. We'll be back again tomorrow with some more content coming your way and a quarterback deep dive on Friday across 4 second-tier quarterbacks in this 2024 NFL draft class. We'll see you soon.